Hi guys, Vic Lance here. Some tech tips on building a building a pedal board. I'm laughing because I've been around for a while. I play guitar, and I played guitar for a very long time. And I have built, I can't tell you how many pedal boards, and they have ranged, the materials have ranged from everything from plywood to wash boards or cutting boards and just all kinds of stuff. But I gotta say, I'm cheap, okay? I do not like to spend a lot of money. Sometimes I'll work harder and it takes longer, but I like to build stuff. I like to tinker. All right, so let's talk about a few of the materials. We want to have our pedals stuck down. And if you're anything like me, you're going to evolve and change with time. So you're going to be adding pedals, taking pedals off, switching them around, and reordering them and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So my feeling, Velcro is kind of the way to go. Now, I've been reading articles about something better than Velcro. It's basically the same thing. It's a hook and loop kind of stuff, but it's supposed to be stronger. I haven't tried that, but you know, maybe a good way to go. All right, so here's what I do. First of all, I start with what is my pedal board going to go into, and how many pedals am I going to put on it? Okay, so there's all kinds. I've used briefcases, I've used suitcases. It depends, and of course, there's all kinds of cases that you can buy. Here's one that I kind of started off with a while ago. I actually have a very large pedal board now, but I needed something smaller for different particular gigs. So this is just a computer case. I picked it up at a flea market or something like that for a couple bucks. And so we measure that, use the dimensions. That's going to be our basis, our start. Okay. So here's a couple of things that I've used. This is like a Luan, like a very thin plywood that I've used. That's one type of material. This is a particle board. This stuff is heavier and it doesn't, to my thinking, it holds screws pretty well. This is a little heavy, but it's nice. It's a nice smooth surface. It works really well. And it's great for putting on the material we're going to talk about. So, here's a couple of things. Again, my biggest problem was getting my wah-wah onto this thing, deciding where that's going to go. I'm not going to get into the whole pedal layout so much because if you're anything like me, you'll figure that out. But helpful hints for the wah-wah. So I took the back plate. I have a Crybaby, a Dunlop Crybaby. Others may vary, but this may work on all of them. So if you take the backing plate off, it's a very thin piece of metal, and you can lay it onto your piece and use it as a template to figure out where the holes go. Then in the back, I've drilled the holes, and then I've countersunk them a little bit so that when I screw those in, they're not going to be sticking out. Take the rubber feet off. Sometimes what I do is use the rubber feet from the wah-wah and put it on the back of my plate. These are little stick-on rubber feet. All right, so then we've got these two. We've got it drilled out for our wah-wah. Then, let's talk about materials. This stuff, 3M spray adhesive. This works great. There's all kinds of adhesives out there. Why am I using an adhesive? Aren't I going to use Velcro? Here's what I do. This was a leftover car mat. Now, this isn't ideal because the back had a bunch of little pokey things, little ridges sticking out and stuff like that. And I literally had to kind of sand them down to get a flat surface so that I could glue it onto my piece. But it did end up working. And so it's if you feel this is what you're looking for the when you're using the Velcro. The stiff hooks those are the things that you want to put on your pedals. And then this is a very soft kind of, this will be like that soft part of the Velcro that you feel. So then I glued it down. This is ready to go. Okay? The Velcro will stick nicely to this. Now, even better for my money, this is from a dollar store. Little rug that you would put in front of like a little welcome mat or whatever. Very thin, costs $1 for, you can get like, if you're doing a pedal board this size, you can probably get 4 of them out of it. But for $1, again, this works really, really well to stick the Velcro onto. So, here's the stiff part of the Velcro. Sticks right on there nicely. Okay, you hear that nice rip as you pull it apart. Same with this stuff. Okay, so this is the self-adhesive. That's what I use. So then, same thing with this. This is the particle board one. Spray glue, slap it on there. Now remember, if you're going to screw your wah-wah on there, that's going to help hold this down. You may also need to throw a few staples or screws into this, depending on what you're using. If you're using this rug, this has a little bit of texture to it too. So I found that I had to really glue the heck out of this thing to get it to stay. Okay, but it works. So let's take a look at some. Here's my small one that I had finished. Throw these off to the side. This is my computer bag. So I took the measurements. And it's also nice because of the soft cases, I got extra cords in there and all kinds of stuff. Throw my set list in. So here's what I have on this particular one. This is a small board that's got some basics on it. Got a power supply. It has my flanger, chorus, got a, what do I have on here? Fuzz, Donner fuzz, vintage overdrive, and a tuner. Alright. Plenty of stuff for a gig. No wah-wah, this particular one. That's okay. But it gets a little heavy. Now what I like to do is find some cheap handles like this. These are cabinet handles. Throw those on there. Helps you lift it out of your bag. So, and these are just Velcroed on. That's all that's holding them. Remember, when you're planning this out, make sure you leave room for your cables and all that kind of stuff. The obvious, you know. I'm reading a lot about the order of the pedals that I put in. I guess that can be a whole other science. I've experimented a lot, kind of find what works for me. And it depends on what amp I'm using. So that's the small board. Now, Gator makes all kinds of cool cases. This one I stumbled on because I needed a bigger board. So I searched and searched, and they're not very expensive. I forget what I paid for this, but it was not very much. This is nice because this has this cool outer bag. I play wireless, so my wireless stuff can go in here, as well as maybe some extra cables. I throw a slide and a cable in here and stuff like that. So then let's take a look. This bad boy, I got everything in here. I actually have 2 boards this size. So here's the inside of the case. Again, I throw a set list in there and stuff like that. It's a very well made, very nicely padded. So take a look at this. I have my cords and stuff. I leave them right on there, so I'm good to go for plugging it in. I'm going to move them out of the way so we can get a better look at what's going on here. Get that out of the way. Spare. Because I have 2 pedal boards like this, and they have different effects on them. I actually carry this shorter cord with me so I can hook them together if I choose to. Now, let's talk about power supplies. I am not an expert, trust me. So you're going to have to, do what works for you. I found that a single one spot, now I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I have 10 effects on this board, all powered by a single one spot. Now, people that think I'm crazy, I think it seems to work fine. And the thinking is, and I read this somewhere as well, that I'm only powering a couple at a time, usually. I think at the most, maybe 4 at a time, but that's even rare. Usually it's maybe a delay and a overdrive, or maybe a couple overdrives together, or maybe a wah-wah and an overdrive, something like that. But I'm not powering every single one all at once. So the one spot 9 volt seems to work for me. So it doesn't take up any space on this pedal board. I love it. Now, here's the cool thing. I love to play wireless. So take a look at this. This is, it's heavy. This is my Line 6 wireless. So it's got a nice small footprint. I've played some of the smaller wireless ones that are just a little unit that plugs into the guitar and plugs in to the amp. They're not as good as this for this kind of money. Man, I love this thing. So this is the bass unit and the charger. So that fits right on there. So here's another thing. This is the dollar store carpeting that I used here. Now, some of my pedals, I have the straps on them, because the Velcro wasn't holding. It's not because it wasn't holding to the carpet. It didn't stick to the back of the pedal. Some pedals, I've tried cleaning them with alcohol. I've tried all kinds of things, and the Velcro will not stick. Now, I haven't tried this new stuff they're talking about. That might work. But so the Panduit straps I've used on 3 of these pedals because they just would not stick. Other than that, works great. So this is the other thing I wanted to show you. This particular pedal, and it's one of my favorites by the way, is a Nux multifunction pedal. So it has all kinds of different modulation. This little deal here, I built that so that I wouldn't stomp on the knobs and change them, because it has like 10 different settings on here, and one little nudge, one little kick makes a huge difference. So I put that on there so I wouldn't stomp on it, or so it wouldn't get changed when it's in the case, because some of my other pedals, I just put little marks on them with a Sharpie, like my Tube Screamer, because I got a terrible memory. I'll forget where I set it, and I find the sweet spot, and I want to keep it there. So some of my pedals, I actually put a mark on there. And they vary depending on the amp that I'm using or the guitar that I'm using. So I'll put little scribe marks on there. Help me out. So that's basically it. Cheap materials. This one is on that thin plywood that I was talking about. The bottom, I put some rubber feet on there. Elevated this end a little bit. Some people like to put you can put a whole top tier on here. Kind of move those back pedals up a little bit. I'm actually thinking of doing that. But the power and the way that I have these aligned, and I use, I save all my little twist ties for when I get different gear or whatever. And I use those to kind of neaten up all my cords on there. I'm a little, OCD about that. Typical guitar player, I guess. So when I lift it out of the case, I'm lifting it by the wah-wah and the handle on the side. So, inexpensive pedal board. Pedal board basically cost me nothing. I mean, it was stuff that I had laying around, but you can find this stuff anywhere. So if you're using Velcro, it just makes it so much easier. Just cover the whole thing with that cheap carpet. You can move your pedals around to your heart's content, you know, move stuff around, have fun with it, and enjoy, have fun. Stay tuned for more tech tips from Vic Lance.